Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you aren't a professional like me but love to do your own nails, subscribe to my channel because I love to do quick, easy, and extra nails at home. Also follow me on Instagram, my name is Nails Sweetie, so you can talk to me or show me your work. Today I'm going to show you how I created this neon sign inspired nails. These are Chinese characters that say ni hao, which means hello. If you want to purchase anything that I use in this video, consider shopping with my affiliate links below. I will make a small commission for my recommendation, but it won't be at an extra cost to you. Now let's get started. As always, I'm applying some base coat onto some square full cover nail tips. This base coat is by Beetles. I love it because I don't have to buff the surface of the nail tips, and these are the same nail tips that I used in my anti-Valentine's Day look that I will link in the cards. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. In that video, I share some of my tips with stamping polish and a stamping plate. What I also used in that anti-Valentine's Day video is this black gel polish by Gelish called Black Shadow. If you watched that video, you would know that this gel polish is really sheer, and it takes 4 coats to create that opaque look. So if you have any black gel polishes that you can recommend to me that can get me an opaque look in like 1 or 2 coats, please let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I'm on the hunt for one right now. At this point, we are at our 3rd coat, and this isn't like my nail philosophy. I like to do quick, easy nails, something that is going to make my life more convenient and easier, and this gel polish is the exact opposite of convenient and easy. So yeah, just 1 more coat to go, and here it is. And then we can get to the hand painting and the neon sign artwork. Last week I uploaded a St. Patrick's Day nail look, and in that nail look, I show you how to create a super easy ombre using gel polish, so I will also link that in the cards and go check that out. Now I'm applying top coat using Kupa GelFinity's matte top coat, and this is my first time kind of having issues with this top coat. It wasn't curing for some reason. I don't know why, because I also used this top coat in the anti-Valentine's Day nail look one. So what I ended up doing was just curing it for 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. And when I took it out, it still wasn't curing for some reason. So I painted another layer, or I applied, if you want to be technical, another coat of the Kupa GelFinity matte top coat, and I made sure it was very thick and even, and then I cured it for a minute again, and then it was fine. So sometimes you have to, analyze your nails before you move forward, double check and see, if there needs to be some corrections or problem solving, because if you ignore those issues and you just keep going, it might backfire later, in my experience at least. And this star resin mixing plate to the left over here, I'm just wiping off any excess polish that ends up on the brush so that it doesn't go back into the bottle. Sometimes I forget and it doesn't really mix, which is good, but if I notice there's a lot, then I wipe it on that mixing plate. Now for the fun part, we are creating a neon sign inspired nail look. I'm using a really skinny brush. I don't really know all the technical names for these brushes, but I bought this in a set on Amazon, and I actually also use the same brush in my anti-Valentine's Day nail look. I'm noticing a pattern in this video, but anyway, so I'm using Gelish Arctic White to write the Chinese letters. I haven't written Chinese letters in a really long time, so it kind of felt different, especially doing it with a brush as opposed to a pen or a pencil and on a curved surface. So this was very new for me. I also have never hand painted anything before, so I thought I would give that a go. And I think Chinese characters, for me at least, is a decent place to start because it's really just lines. I did my name, but I didn't want to show my name because it's not as cute and aesthetically pleasing as, really graceful, elegant Chinese characters. I wanted to put more stuff on the other nails, but I just had no idea what to put. Like, I really couldn't think of anything, and I just liked the simplicity of this one nail. It was really like the statement nail, the nail that makes this whole nail look pop. Well, it's the only thing that makes the nail look pop because there's nothing else on the nails, but like, I was like, should I put flames? Should I put hearts? And it's just, I was not feeling all of the other ideas that I had. And if you're wondering, it's because I can't draw. Like, that is partly true, but I had this other idea to use stamping plates instead. Right here, I'm just cleaning up any edges with this flatter brush and some acetone, very little acetone so that it doesn't ruin my brush. And then I cover my brush, like I put it under a towel so that the acetone and the air doesn't dry it out before I wash it off. With that same brush that I used for the white part, I just cleaned the white polish out of it with a little tiny bit of acetone and a paper towel. I know some people say don't ever put acetone on your brushes, but I do it. I make sure that I'm using a very little amount and that I'm always covering the brush so that the bristles don't dry out. And anyway, I'm using a Jelly Gel Polish by Makartt. It comes in a pack of, I believe, 5 other colors. And I'm just going over the white part. Just, you don't really need to be too perfect. If it comes out of the lines, like, it's no big deal, but I'm just going over the lines. And that, I don't know what the right word is, but that light look where it's kind of glaring out, we're going to do in a little bit. And to create that look, I just took that same jelly polish by Makartt and I put a few coats of base coat, and then I'm using this dotting tool to just put 1 or 2 dots of the white to make it have that, I don't know, just for it to show up on top of the black. I guess that's the best way to explain it, because I tried using just the gel polish and base coat mixed together and you still couldn't really see it, so I put a tiny little bit of white. And for the mixing with the base coat and the gel polish, I did 1 drop of the pink because that pink is very potent, and then 3 drops of the Beetles base coat, and that seemed to help. But this mistake that I made earlier was that I kept that mixing plate close to the lamp, so it ended up curing that base coat part, like the mixture with the base coat and the gel polish. So whoops, you might see it a little bit early on in the video, and I had to clean it off with acetone and then start all over with my little concoction. But with that same brush, I'm going over, now I'm going outside of the lines and then filling any of the spaces like in between the characters. So it makes that glare, that light glare kind of look. I'm hoping that's the right word. I don't know, but yeah, this part, again, you don't have to be too clean, but this is where you kind of color outside the lines, which is kind of nice. Like, I'm finding that this neon nail art look is actually really, really easy to do. And like I mentioned earlier, if you can't draw, you could use a stamping plate and just some white stamping polish, stamp it onto your nails, and then go over it with the jelly polish or whatever concoction that you make if you don't have a jelly polish. I don't know if you have to seal in the stamping polish first. I would imagine that you'd have to. But yeah, that's, I think, just a nice shortcut way of doing that if drawing is not your strong suit. So this is what the nail looks like. It's so cute. I love it. I just like how this looks. It reminds me of when I was abroad one time and I went to eat at this ramen place, I believe, and there was just tons of neon signs everywhere, and the food was so good and the place was just so beautiful. And for some reason, I put all these nails back together, but I didn't have to because I just remembered that I top coated them for them to be matte in the first place. So I applied a coat of that Kupa GelFinity top coat, just one coat, and then I took the nails apart and then I cured it for 1 minute. Didn't have any issues this time around with the top coat. But this is the finished nail look. I love these nails. They are so cute. They're so simple. I wish I could have thought of something cool to put on the other nails, but either way, without anything on them, I just still love how these nails came out. It is so cute. I love it. I love pink, hot pink and black together because it reminds me of like the early 2000s, and that was how everybody dressed. That was like the main color combination back in like 2004, 2005. So what do you think of these nails? Tell me what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching my video. You can support me for free by liking, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you all next week. Bye!